Hello and welcome to Forbes Middle East. 10 days passed by and Beirut is still under the effect of the port explosion. No government till now, and uncertainty rules, especially when it comes to the financial situation in Lebanon. And to businesses and companies operating in Beirut, there are many challenges, no doubt. We will be discussing this and many other issues with Maysa Abu Adal, member of the board of directors of Holdal Group, member of the Internal Audit Committee, and the Chief Sustainability Officer. I will start by the general situation in Lebanon. We know that Lebanon is going through really difficult times, financially, economically. Maybe it's the toughest in its history. As one of the biggest holding group in Lebanon, Holdal, what kind of challenges are you facing exactly, and how are you dealing with it?
First of all, Shihan, I'd like to just say that our thoughts and prayers go to all those affected by this huge tragedy. It's as if the history was repeating itself for us, for the Lebanese community, and for the family business. For the longest I've known, we've had to rebuild, relieve, heal, and this takes time. And thank God everybody is alive next to us, among us, but we've had a lot of damages, but the moral damages are even bigger. We had already started back in October, to manage the crisis, the huge financial and economic crisis, and we had set up 5 task forces around the organization. So these 5 task forces were around organizational resilience, protecting our people, our colleagues, our community, about protecting the cash flow, protecting the stock, the receivables. As you know, Holdal is a group that is heavily reliant on Lebanon, and it's a choice. It's a choice that we have made. We could have been abroad in many countries. We could have diversified a long time ago, but we always strongly believed in our country. So the risk was even bigger and the obstacles were even bigger. We're also a very exposed company to importation from the past. So that was also another major obstacle we needed to deal with, because as you know, we've had a lot of barriers to entry. So from an industry point of view and also from a geographical point of view, we were already heavily exposed. But that was not the first time. It's been, since I was born, I grew up with this. So we've been consistent and we've been really coherent. So this helps a lot when you're really sticking to your core purpose, core values, and to why you exist as a family business. It's very important. It helps a lot into avoiding spreading too thin. Then came the COVID crisis. And with the COVID crisis, we built in 24 hours with the teams business continuity committee plan.
Have you started assessing the losses due to the explosion?
Yes. From the first day, everybody was trying to protect, safeguard. There is first aid provided to our colleagues, to our family. So the first day, everybody was really trying to deal with the relief. Then the next day, we started assessing, and it's still on the go now. So far, we have a lot of stores in the malls and in downtown that were brand new, that were shattered. 53 homes of our colleagues were shattered. So the next day we started cleaning the homes and assessing and making sure that they have the protection and they have the safety to rebuild their homes just to live with dignity. We have some stock in the port, of course, that was heavily impacted. The offices, they're in the Kwene and the warehouse and the factory. It's as if we were at the port. So our offices were heavily impacted. So this is why I was mentioning this history repeating itself.
Do you reconsider resizing, for example, restructuring, or perhaps manufacturing some of the products in Lebanon? Because we know that you rely, and all businesses in Lebanon mainly rely on the port. and the port is not functioning anymore, and we don't know when it will be back to normal?
Very good questions. Again, the focus has been on the people, and it's not just the Holdal community that we consider like a family. It's about also all our local partners. They can be, in the private sector. They can be working in the NGOs. They can be families directly that have no relationship with Holdal, but we've been supporting all these years. So the focus has been there. Now, in the meantime, about resizing, it's not a matter of resizing. It's a matter of how do you get the support of your partners after 50 and 60 and 70 years from the international community to rehabilitate, to fix, and to at least be able to run again. If we don't get such support, if the insurance doesn't cover, because we're still waiting for the results of the investigation like everybody else, then you have a problem. But we had already in October started the digital transformation, whereby we thought we need to scale online. We need online solutions because the walls and the brick and mortar are extremely heavy on us to manage on a daily basis. That was really before October. So there are several solutions in the pipeline, very limited resources, and these resources are really invested in the human lives, to be very honest. So I'm not at the stage right now to tell you exactly how much we will resize in terms of stores, in terms of infrastructure. On the people side, in the past 10 months, we could have resized the organization. We never did, because if in the past we had some problems of performance, that was an important topic to address, but we would never address it in such a condition. And not when people need you, when every family survival is reliant on a salary or an income. So the context right now is really not the right one to address this resize of the organization. Now, in the future, depending on the transformation of the group, maybe this will be a question to be addressed, but certainly not now. Now we're trying to protect every single family. And last month, we have actually doubled and increased the relief to our families. That was another top up to relieve them. That was right before the tragedy. Now the 53 homes are covered entirely. We had an amazing contractor who's dealing with every single home, and it will be actually covered personally by the family. So we're not at all into the question of resizing the organization. And finally, for the local production, this is something that had started 2 years ago. And now we're just doubling and tripling the efforts and putting it as a priority business stream to make sure that in certain categories whereby we have the capacity and the capability, we are less reliant on importation, and we are encouraging the proudly made in Lebanon. What we've been doing is on hygiene, home care, personal care, the machine that already exists that are able to produce. We're just producing our own private labels because the demand is huge, because the importation barriers are huge, and because we do believe and we want to promote the local ecosystem, because this creates more job employment, this actually encourages local sourcing of your products, etc., etc. But for the big plan, I'm talking about the 5 years plan, this requires heavy investment, which we do not have at this stage. And if we had it, I think that the question wouldn't be even raised on the table. It would go around really relieving the community and also enabling and empowering this community and the people.
But you will be looking at as well at the sustainability of the business.
Yes, definitely. And this is something very important, because otherwise you cannot do anything for these families. So on one end, if you want in a summary, on one end, there is a safeguarding, relief, immediate, urgent plan. And on the other end, there is another vitesse de croisière, whereby we're also tackling, okay, what's in it for us for the future?